You're listening to a For the Girls podcast Flashback Friday episode. Every Friday, I reshare an older episode for new listeners who haven't heard it, or as a refresher for OG listeners who might need to hear it again as a reminder. Enjoy, and I'll see you with a new episode on Monday. Settling is not an option for me. Everything I desire is already mine. What if you can have it all? Because every day is for the girls. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of For the Girls. I'm your host, Victoria Alario. And today we have such an amazing conversation. We are talking with Lindsey Metselaar, the host of the iconic podcast, We Met at Acme, a show all about dating and relationships. And I just know if you are an avid listener of For the Girls, you have had to come across We Met at Acme at some point, if not listening and subscribing like on a weekly basis, because we are like preaching to the choir, okay? We are two girls cut from the same cloth. If you like what I have to say, you're going to love what she has to say. So you probably have listened or have come across We Met at Acme at some point. Okay, everyone, please welcome Lindsey to For the Girls. Linz, I'm so excited to have you. Please introduce yourself to everyone.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Lindsey Metselaar, and I host a podcast called We Met at Acme. I am from New York City, and I have a cute little almost 4-month-old named Zachary.
Yes, a new mama. And like you just said, We Met at Acme is just such an iconic podcast. I'm actually, as a podcaster, I've never really been like a podcast listener, but I have found myself listening to We Met at Acme for sure, as I think like every woman in her 20s has. But I want to know how it really all came to be. Like, when did you really start that? And what was your life like that made you even think, okay, in the place I'm at now, I want to start a dating podcast?
Yeah, well, I was 27 at the time, and I had just been dumped on my birthday. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy and horrible, but there's no way that I'm the only person that this has happened to. Like, we all have shared dating experiences, but we don't get to talk about them. And at the time, there were no dating podcasts. This was like 7 years ago. And I really needed something to help me get me through this. And so I was like, what if I just talked about dating with my friends, like shot the shit. And at the time we were going out at Acme always. And we were meeting people there, but no one like of substance really. And I was just like, it would be so fun to have these conversations. And like, I don't know, why don't we just record them and see if anyone listens? And I did not expect anyone to listen at the time. And we were being very like, we were just like naming names of real people. We did not know what we were doing. And then when people were mad that we had named their names, we were just like, oh, people are listening. That's cool.
Wait, that's actually crazy. So it was kind of like having a public group chat with your friends.
Basically. And just, I didn't really understand how podcasts worked. So I was like, I didn't even think I was doing it right for it to actually go into people's like phones,
That's so interesting. So do you have documented like from that era through like meeting your now husband, like all of that? Did you share all of that?
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's documented through like the episodes where I talk about my life. And like before him, there were, other people that I had dated as I had the podcast. And so all of that is like, if you listen to past episodes, you can hear all of that too.
Oh my gosh, that is so interesting. So unfiltered. I love that. But I especially love the inspo behind how you said like you were going out, you were going to clubs, you were meeting guys. I want to talk about that for a second. Like for women that are dating or trying to date organically compared to dating apps, do you have any like must have things that girls need to know or need to do, like as far as wanting to meet somebody out, whether it's like a flirting tip, a conversation tip, a pickup line, a beauty tip, just like anything? What can you offer to help girls who are like really resistant to the dating apps that want to meet people?
I
out.
think if you're really resistant to the dating apps, which I totally get because so many people are just so sick of them, when you go out, you have to be social. Like you have to be kind of shameless in your going to talk to other people that you don't know, being open to having these conversations with strangers. And I always say if you're too, like, really genuinely too scared to talk to a stranger, you could always pretend that like you're on a bachelorette party and it's like on your like not treasure hunt. What's it called when you're,
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
like a scavenger hunt?
Scavenger hunt
Yeah,
list. Like you're like, oh, you know, it says talk to a random person at the bar,
I love
or
that.
you can just be like, oh, my friend over there like thinks you're cute. Like throw your friend under the bus, and then some, like a lot of guys sometimes when you say like, oh, my friend over there thinks you're cute, they'll be like, well, what about you? And then you could be like, oh, I guess I think so too, you know, and your friend's like married, you know.
I love that. I think ultimately it's just like have that little bit of confidence. Like just a little bit goes such a long way. And also just like my thing that I always say to girls who ask about this is like just people skills. Like don't even think about flirting. Just like as if you're talking to the person at the grocery store helping you check out. Like just
Exactly.
have conversational skills period in general.
Uh-huh. It's so true. Just like, hey, like what did you think of that? Like if there's TVs at the bar, like, oh, like is that your team? You know, like whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Just making conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the resistance to dating apps makes me think about dating apps. I want to know, just from a dating expert's perspective, if you saw the Bumble's new like campaign, the anti-celibacy campaign that they just put out an apology for.
I did. I know what they were going for, but I see how it didn't work. And I just feel like sex is such a sensitive topic with like the generation below me that you cannot like you cannot even joke about it really. Well, how old are you? I feel like
I'm
you're
29.
okay. So I guess you're kind of like this. I don't know. What generation do you consider yourself?
Well, I am a millennial
You're
by
right,
like
right,
my
right.
year,
Right,
but
but you're connected, like you
yeah,
understand Gen Z.
right, right. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, to some degree. Like, not
Yeah.
all the way, not all the way. But I personally was like, holy shit, that how did that pass a
Right.
team of so many people? Like,
Mm-hmm.
not a good look. And I also just think, especially coming from Bumble, because like they were supposed to be like a dating app, like for women, like, and whatever, which is, to be quite honest with you, why I was never on Bumble, because I'm like, I will never make the first move.
I hear you.
So I was never a Bumble girl, but that's supposed to be their whole mission, is like really empowering to women and all that. And then seeing that, I'm just like, ooh, that was not aligned with the mission there.
No, it is very it's very confusing. Like, did they think that I don't know, because I mean what they ended up doing is like shaming people, you know, and I wonder what they thought the result was gonna be. Like, what do you think in those meetings they were like, oh, if we
Yeah.
say this, you know,
I think they thought it was gonna like they were gonna be in on the joke almost, like in on like the TikTok thing. For everyone listening, whoever doesn't know, they literally
yeah,
put out billboards saying like a vow of celibacy is not the answer. They also put out a commercial, basically like, you know, poking fun or trying to join in on the fun of like women online, essentially saying like, I am like boycotting dating, or I'm boycotting sex. I'm not sleeping with anyone that I'm meeting on apps and whatnot. And so it has been like a pretty big movement, and I think it's definitely gained some traction offline as well as just like being in like the TikTok world. So I feel like that was the other thing too, is like someone might not be a TikTok person and see the billboard and they're just like super confused altogether. So it's kind of
right.
like, they're trying to be in on the joke, but it didn't land.
Right. It also feels like they're like making fun of an entire generation.
Hmm.
Um, and that's not a great, because I know that most of the people like in those rooms are more millennial.
Hmm.
And so it just seems like they're saying like these TikTokers, like, what are they saying? And it's like, well, that's your new demographic because like a lot of millennials are getting married and getting off your app. So not a good idea.
Yeah, just not a good idea. Um, yeah, I don't know. I had to see what your thoughts were because I'm like, all right, she's a dating girl, so let's see. But on that note, you have all your dating rules. I listened to the podcast. I read your Instagram highlights. I'm like going through all the rules. So there was a bunch of different ones, but sex actually being part of them, the first one, first and foremost that I always saw. So I want to go through a few of them, of course not all of them, but we're gonna just break them down. I'm gonna read them and then I'll have you like kind of give your opinion as to why that is a rule that you have set in place. And these are just like part of your brand that you've always like instilled through like your podcast and through your community and all that. And ultimately, I think that it's extremely helpful for girls because these simple like do's and don'ts are the most like tangible things. It's not like the woo woo, like, spiritual stuff. It's just like, here's the black and white. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is the shit you got to do or shouldn't be doing. And so, like I said, including sex, that was number one, which is don't have sex on the first date.
Mm.
Tell us why.
So I think everything with the rules is all about your intention behind it. And of course, like with everything, it's like take what works for you and leave the rest. With this no sex on the first date, for me, that is like don't have sex on the first date thinking that that's what you need to do to be seen and liked by this person. If you want to have sex on the first date because you haven't had sex in a while and you want to get yours or whatever, right? Have sex on the first date with no expectations of where this is going to go. I also think that not having sex right away, like having the build up to sex is just hotter. Like it's just plain hotter. There's more tension. Once you do have sex, you know them a little bit more so you can feel comfortable saying, no, do this, don't do that. This is what I like. So I have just personally, from my own experience, no sex on the first date has worked and has been the best way to go about it. I actually don't think you should have sex until probably like the sixth date. But I know a lot of people, after the first date, they kind of do again what works best for them. But that's what I think is best, just because like it's fun. You're gonna have sex with this person forever if they're gonna be your person, right? So like, why rush it? What
Yeah.
do you think?
I mean, I can't say always because I definitely, when I was younger, I had my fun. But as I got older, I became such a stickler, like no sex unless we are like exclusively like in a relationship. Because I don't know, I just feel like as I got older, it became almost like more sacred to me and like my values. And I just was like, why would I even do this with someone who's not 100% all about me? Like if they can be with me and then be with somebody else, I'm like, I can't, no, I don't even want that. So
Mm-hmm.
I waited a really long time until now that like I have a boyfriend, but while I was single, like leading up to him, I was like, it's just I didn't even have the desire to do it because I knew that there was no commitment on their end. So that to me was like, I'm okay. Like I
Right.
don't need to. And I understand like people wanting to or, needing to, but I don't know. I just didn't have that urge. I was like, I want to wait, kind of like you said, you know, not even a timeline for me of like which number date, but just like when we're at that point of like, okay, it's just us. That was how I
Right,
felt.
right. Or at least like it feels like it's just us, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, exactly. All right, this one I also like. No more than 2 drinks on the first few dates. This one I definitely can relate to on a personal standpoint because first of all, I get drunk after two drinks. So for me, I'm like, yes, that is definitely my limit. But where did that one come from?
Basically exactly what you said. Like people get drunk usually around 2, 3 drinks, especially women, and you know, we do not make our best decisions when our judgment is clouded by alcohol. And so it's more just like, let's be able to continue to think clearly. And also, no one likes a sloppy drunk. Like, no one likes sloppy. That almost immediately can disqualify you in the early days of dating someone. So don't let yourself be disqualified if you like someone, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I also think like, comes with maturity too of like, maybe if you are Gen Z, maybe if you are like 22, 23, like you're probably going out like hoping to get drunk. Like that's what you want to happen. I think as
Right.
you get older too, you're probably like, let me not embarrass myself, let me like not necessarily get too drunk.
Right, exactly. And like also you probably have to wake up tomorrow and go to work. Like why do you need more than two drinks?
Exactly, exactly. All right. Don't text them thank you after the first date. Why?
You've already thanked them on the date very graciously. And it's the guy's job to continue to pursue you if he's interested in you. A lot of the time, again, going back to the intention behind things, we text thank you because we haven't heard from them yet. And we want to control the conversation of like, we're going to keep talking because I like this person. Why don't you let him reach out to you because he likes you, which will happen. Guys are not that complicated. If he wants to see you again, he's going to reach out to you. And
Yeah.
so you don't need to say, oh, by the way, thank you again. You know, it's one thing if he texts you after the date and he's like, hey, did you get home safe? I had fun. Then you could be like, yes, I did. Thanks again. Like, but don't go out of your way to initiate a thank you text because you haven't heard from him or because you want to hear from him, because that's transparent and it's a turnoff to guys, I think.
Yeah. It's actually so funny because I do think that a lot of girls do it almost to like, I guess like make themselves look more gracious or like look better, whatever the case is, even if it's not like a genuine gesture, they're just like, let me make sure that like, this makes me look good, whatever. And for me, I've always followed that as well of like not texting them. And so with my boyfriend now, he took me to dinner, he took me home, but of course I said thank you. And so, like in person. So I didn't text him afterwards and he didn't text me afterwards. So I'm like, wow, this like fucking guy like didn't text me. And then the next day he texted me in the morning. And then when he called me. So we got on the phone and I was like, I kind of thought I was going to hear from you last night, letting me know that you like got home. He's like, I thought you were going to text me and say thank you. And I'm like, I said thank you in person. He's like, yeah, but girls usually still just like text you again and say like thanks for the date. I'm like, well, you're used to the wrong girls because you're not going to get that with
Exactly.
me.
And by the way, I'm so glad that you bring that up because that's another reason why you don't do it, because guys are so like jaded by it. They're like, girls are always texting me, thank you. Like, be
Yeah.
the girl who does something different. You
Yeah.
already thanked him.
Yeah. I'm like, I said it in person. He's like, yeah, but still. I'm like, well, then you're in for a rude awakening with me
Exactly.
because
And
there's
guess
a
what?
lot of
He
things I
called
don't
you
do.
anyway.
Yep.
So
I say it all the time. You can't mess it up like with if this is going to be the person you're going to be with, like you can't mess it up over silly little things like that unless you did something like bad. But with things like that, like if they like you, they're not going to never call you again or never text you again because you didn't text them to say thank you. Like
right.
they're going to reach back out.
But I would argue that if you're texting them incessantly,
Oh, yes, of
you could
course.
mess it up that way.
I more or less mean you can't do too little. Let me put it that way. You
Right.
could
Yes.
definitely do too
You could do
much.
too much, but you can't do too little. I love that. Oh my God, that's a good poll question.
Yeah, I definitely think you could do too much and you could scare someone away, but I don't think you could do too little because I think men by nature like a chase. So like you doing the least, there unless he's got some different rewiring in his brain, he's gonna be more curious and he's gonna reach back out.
Totally.
Um, okay, this is kind of on the same wave. The next like two of them, don't initiate plans with them until you're official and don't initiate texts until you're official. So kind of on the same wave, but is there like more of a meaning behind that?
I would say that the meaning behind it is just like once you start initiating things, it's a similar vibe as the thank you text. It's like really trying to check their pulse like desperately when like they're probably gonna continue asking and inviting you places anyway if they're interested in you. This like all rules, like there are exceptions. Like if you work for a company and they give you like their house seats to like the Rangers game and they fall into your lap and you're like, well, the guy that I'm dating is the biggest Rangers fan, like then you can invite him, but it's like don't force plans with the guy. Like he should be continuing to pursue you before you guys are official.
Yeah, I also think that it just those beginning things set the tone for the future. Like don't shift the role to like now you're like the one initiating plans and making it as if like he doesn't have to like do the work. I mean,
Totally.
I entirely agree that like men pursue women. Do you get like pushback on that? Like do you have a lot of people who are whether it's like women who are just super empowered or men who want women to do the work? Like do you get a lot of people saying like why does it have to always be the men?
Always.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like that's always going to be the case because some people are just traditional and some people aren't. And the rules are traditional. And if you don't like that, then you're going to come for people who do.
If
And
you don't
that's
like it,
okay.
don't follow them. It's that
Exactly.
simple.
Exactly.
No, I completely agree. And I do think it's important though to like have that mindset in place. Like don't initiate anything until it's official because you're gonna start to set the tone. And then if you do make those gestures in the beginning, and then that kind of like takes precedent in your relationship, then months down the line, you're gonna be like, he doesn't make the effort, he doesn't whatever. Like, well, you kind of like set that up. So
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
All right, a couple more. Don't stay on the date for over 2 to 3 hours. That is an interesting one. I've never even thought about that one. Why is that?
That one is really just because like you want to leave them wanting more. I way too often hear and I get these messages that are like we went on this amazing date. We were out for 6 hours or like we went to dinner and then we went to this like 3 hour ceremony and then like for 2 hours we did this and like I didn't hear from him and I don't know why. And it's like, well, because do you have a life? Like, why did you just give this guy 6 hours of your time the first time that you met him? That leads him to think like she is obsessed with me. And like it sucks. It sucks that like you have to even think about that, but you have to have like a boundary for yourself the first time you go on a date with someone. You cannot just be like, oh yeah, I'll stay here. Oh yeah, I'll go to this bar with you. Oh yeah, I'll do this. Like you are a busy woman. You've got things going on. And even if you don't, you have to fake that because you do not need to create this false sense of closeness with this person and then get even more crushed when you don't hear from them.
Hmm. Yeah, it kind of goes into like what we were just saying before. Like you can definitely do too much, but you can never do too little. Like
Exactly.
let them miss you. Let them want more from you. Let them be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if this date is over now, then I need to make more plans with her because I want to spend more time with her.
Exactly.
All right, this one is actually funny because I have a little bit of like a very minor story of my own to go with it. But don't buy gifts until you're official. I have to just say, this one struck a nerve with me because a long time ago, I was like 22, 23. I was seeing this guy who, likely story, he was obsessed with me, wanted to go out with me for so long. I always said no. I finally said yes. What do you think happens from there? And now I'm obsessed with him and he couldn't give two shits if I died. And basically, I was going over his house all the time. And so it was like kind of a thing that like I always would drink like a lot of, he always had water bottles and I just always drank a lot of them. I would like drink 2 or 3 water bottles and then I don't know. So one day I was going over and I brought a case of water bottles because I was like, let me bring water to him because I'm always drinking all of his water, whatever. To me, it meant literally nothing aside from that. That was fine. Things started to shift. Spoiler alert, we didn't work out. And when we like spoke about it afterwards, he's like, I just felt like you were pushing things like too fast, like too soon, whatever. Like you were rushing things to move too soon. He goes, you brought water bottles to my house. I literally was like, what? I'm like, I wasn't like marking my territory and trying to move in. I just was bringing
That's
water
really
bottles.
funny.
And it literally, I'm like, I will never fucking spend $1 on a guy again.
Never, never. He probably thought that you were like, yeah, I need to have these here because like I'm going to be here for a while. Guys are so like delusional.
Yeah, he literally said that to me. I'm like, am I in the twilight zone right now? Like, it was a $7 case of water bottle, but
Literally.
it goes into that. I know it's not a gift, but it's like that gesture of like giving them something, bringing them something. Like,
Hmm.
what is that?
It's just like guys are the opposite of girls in that, like, when we're dating, when women are dating men, we are rarely like, he's obsessed with me. Like we're not really like that unless like we have the ick from them. But guys are so quick to think that we are so in love with them. And so anything that you do can be scrutinized for them to be like, oh, dude, she's obsessed with me. She brought me water bottles, you know? And like, if that were the same situation reverse, we'd be like, how sweet, he brought me water bottles, But the immediate default for guys, dude, she's in love.
It's so crazy. It's like every little gesture is like looked through like a microscope and made so much bigger. Um,
So annoying.
Maybe he was right. Maybe I was obsessed with him. I don't know, but either way, it didn't work out. So,
Yeah, he's
all
lost.
right, last one for these is actually one that I want to hear you like explain, but I tend to disagree with, which is you
Okay.
say always offer to pay, and I
Mm.
disagree. But I want to hear what your thoughts behind it.
So I think that you should always offer to pay until he's like, don't offer to pay anymore. I got this. Because, and I don't think that you should be like taking your card out and being like, take this, let's split it, please, blah, blah, blah. What I mean is a simple, the check comes, and instead of being like, thank you, you're like, and he's like, stop, I got this. But let him continue to say, stop, I got this, or like until he says, don't even like pretend to reach, I'm getting everything, like I am the man, you are the woman, I will pay every time we go to dinner. If you want to get little things, be my guest, but this is the way that I like the dynamic. He has to have that conversation with you before you stop doing the turn. But there's a difference between turning and barely even touching your bag and shaking your card in front of him. Do not even get your card out, ladies. If the guy still hasn't shut you down as you started turning, this is not your man.
Yeah. Well, that's basically why I think that I would say I've always told like my clients, I'm through TikTok and my podcast, I'm like, don't even offer.
Yep.
I'm the thank you kind of person. I'm like,
Mm.
just say thank you so much. This was such a nice dinner. I really had a great time with you. If hold on, if that's how you genuinely feel. Like if you don't want him to accept your money, because what happens is I get a lot of girls who comment me saying things like, I offered to pay and he accepted. Like, what an ick, what a red flag, whatever. And I'm like, then why did you offer if this was just you testing him to see if he would not accept? Granted, there are guys who would never accept your money and would say, don't even embarrass me like that, put your money away. But also, there are some guys who are not smart and they don't realize like you're testing them. They're like, what a great gesture. Sure, you could give me whatever the case is. So I don't even think it's necessarily an immediate red flag if he accepts, because I'm like, why did you offer if you didn't want him to accept? If you don't want him to say, yes, I'll take your money, then don't even put the option out there. Just say thank you, because, who knows if he's, like I said, not the smartest, not the brightest bulb in the batch. He might just be like, okay, sure. What a nice gesture of you to offer. So I'm like, offer if you want and don't offer if you don't want him to accept, because then you're just kind of playing this mind game. And that's not really right either. That's at least how I perceive it.
I hear you. I think I just feel like I've heard from too many guys that the thank you like offends them. That it just like it's like the girl seems entitled, and I
Mm,
don't think that that means that like the girl is. I just know that the guys that I know like at least like a fake thing more than nothing.
right.
But
Unfortunately, my boyfriend didn't get any fake gestures from me.
but like they should shut it down. And if they don't shut it down, they're not for you.
Yeah, I completely, I'm with that. I'm in no way, shape, or form am I defending the guys who accept it, but I just think some guys are stupid and young, and they're like, "Oh, that was so nice of you to offer." Sure. Whereas, like, there is definitely going to be guys who would be like, "Don't insult me like that. Don't even take out your money."
Yeah, I
But
don't
it's also
know.
a difference of like generations, maybe. I don't know.
No, I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate you defending the guys who accept. I cannot defend them. I'm like, as I'm raising a boy, that's like the second he starts speaking, I'm going to be like, if you let a girl pay when you take her out, we're done here. Like
Yeah.
you're
No,
you're
I
grounded.
agree.
You're grounded.
Yeah, no, I listen, it's 100% how you raise them. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've been raised by a man who I've never seen my mom pay for anything, my grandparents. Like it's just how I'm raised that that's what you do. You don't take money from a woman. I don't think people are being raised necessarily like that anymore. So I think
Right.
that's where like that confusion, or not even confusion, but just like the stupidity of a
Yeah.
guy that's
No,
like,
that's
yeah,
so true.
sure. Because
Yeah.
it really does. It's what's instilled in you. There are going to be people who raise their son to understand like these are the things that you do for a woman, and then there's going to be people who, maybe see their mom like split the bills with their dad, whatever the case is, and it's to them it's like normal. Um,
Mm.
so I don't know. It's I definitely don't like agree that they should accept, but I also just don't agree per se that women should then come to me and be like, what a red flag he is. I played this game on him and he didn't pass the test. I'm like, well then
Yeah.
you should have just not offered then.
Right. No, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay. Well, then that covers the main ones that I, was looking at out of, there was a bunch of different ones. But we have, aside from similar views on the rules, we have a very similar mindset on one thing that I came across of yours, which was if you're confused, they're not interested. And it's just as simple as that. So, what would be your advice for women who are in this constant cycle of like dating, getting excited, then there's a shift and then they lose hope and then they feel confused? Like it goes around. And I think, maybe this comes from women only like dating one guy at a time or whatever the case is. It's a cycle, and I've been there, and I think most girls have been there, where like you meet someone, he really likes you, he's into you, and then this shift happens and then it just repeats, and so it ultimately leads to, I feel like, losing hope really.
Yeah, I think it's a shitty situation, but you did touch on like you should not be putting all your eggs in one basket, especially if it's someone who has had mixed messages towards you from the beginning. A mixed message means no. Confusion means they're not interested. Screenshotting their texts to send to your friend, being like, look, they were kind of nice this one time. Red flag. You know when someone is serious about you, when someone wants to make themselves your boyfriend one day. And we way too often as women, like we want to fix and we want to help and we want to save and we want to, decode their message that has no decoding. It's very clear, like I'm not looking for something serious, aka I don't like you enough. Everything is very simple, but we like to overcomplicate it because we are so intelligent as females that we are always looking for a deeper meaning because we are deeper, and those are amazing qualities that we have. But when it translates to dating, it's like we need to stop looking for something that's not there and trying to make it something it's not. And so when you're confused about how they feel, it's because they don't feel strongly enough.
Yeah, it is truly as black and white and as simple as that. I just think that like one mindset that girls can instill is just like, my person wouldn't make me feel this way. My
Right.
husband wouldn't do that to me. My life partner wouldn't want me to feel, insecure or confused. So like that right there should just tell you like, okay, well then ultimately this is not my person. Um,
Exactly.
So I love all of that. I want to shift gears a little bit because, you're married, you're a new mom now, so you even have rules for people in relationships that are wanting to get to that season, wanting to get engaged, and move forward and progress in a relationship. So I want to break down a couple of those. We're just going to go through a few of them, but I think that the girls in relationships definitely will need to hear this one. Need to hear these rather. Sorry. So first things first, have your own life without your partner. What
Mm.
does that mean?
It means exactly what it says. Have other things going on. Do not have your life revolving around your partner. Like, what are we doing tonight? What are our plans? Like, when are you going to see me again? Like, have your plans with your girlfriends, have your work event, have your Pilates class, like, have your full life and your partner. But do not put all of that aside if your partner calls you and is like, let's stay in tonight. Like, I want to cuddle. Like, no, I'm seeing my girlfriend tonight. I told you, I'll see you right after. Like, it's sexy to have things going on and to stand by your shit and not just like fold because guy said X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, 100%. Um, Also, next one,
Mm-hmm.
hang out with married friends and friends who have babies if you want to have babies.
Yes. So it's so funny. I like forgot about this one. I think it's just, it's important to manifest the future that you want with this person. So if you're boyfriend, girlfriend, like, don't only hang out with people who are in a newer relationship with you. Hang out with people at all stages of their relationship. And so if that means like your married friends, your friends who have kids, and also it's nice to see how your partner acts in these situations. Like, does he want to hold the baby? Is he cute with it? Um, when he leaves your married friends, is he like, oh my God, I never want to get married. Look at that. Like, it's important, and it sparks those important conversations.
I feel like nothing gets a man saying, I want babies more than being around someone else's kids.
Totally. And that's such a green flag.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, you when you just said something, when like you get a random saying in your head,
Yeah.
you were saying like don't only hang out with like people who are also in a new relationship, like hang out with people that are like more, advanced or progressed, whatever, if you will. And it made me think of that random saying that's just like never be the smartest person in the room. And I don't know
Yeah.
why I thought of that, but it's like it's almost like with this, it's like never be the most progressed couple in the room. Hang out
Yeah.
with the couple that goes to therapy. Hang out with the couple that has
Totally.
kids. Like I don't
No,
know
it's
why it
so
made me think of
true. It's so
that.
true. Like what, like right now it's, my husband and I and our son, and it's like we want to hang out with people who have two kids because
Yeah.
like we're learning from them. Or how about people who have three kids? Like,
Yeah.
it's like there's so much to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of having more kids, are you going to stay in New York City and raise your kids there?
Yeah, we are. I know it sounds insane, but I was born and raised in New York City, and I think that it's all about who raises you. And like, not everyone is going to become like a crazy gossip girl, like horrible person. And so yeah, I love it here. I can't see myself leaving. Do you know where you want to one day raise a family?
Well, we're both on Staten Island. That's where we're from. Our parents are here, our families are here, so I'm sure that we will be staying here.
Yeah. So
It's just,
nice.
it's easier.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know why I just thought of that. But I could see it. I mean, I follow like Ariel Charnas, and I'm like obsessed with her and her family and kids and whatever. And I'm like, look at these little city girls, like just walking to school in the morning. It's so cute.
So cute.
All right. Have a timeline conversation. This is so like I need you to really hit home with this one because I people are not doing this, and that is crazy to me.
Like whether or not you should have the timeline conversation.
Yes, yes.
Mm, yeah, you need to be on the same page. Like, need. And that doesn't mean it has to be like so serious. Like, let's sit down turn off your phone. Like, no, it's just as simple as like, when did you envision yourself like getting married and having kids? And they're like, I don't know, like around 30. And like, you're like, okay, cool. Same. Move on. Like it's just as simple as making sure that you guys have the same ideas of when you want to do these things if you're in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you don't, then you got to get out, because I know too many people who have been there. I know someone who's still waiting. And it's like, it's not
And it's
fun.
hard because, like, yes, the man like asks you, like he proposes to you, but then as a woman, you do tend to feel so in the dark of like, well, when is it gonna happen? Because you don't really have control over that part of it. So if you don't know when, like, ideally it's gonna be, that I think that could even cause couples to ultimately break up if a woman's like, well, I don't want to keep waiting, and maybe the guy's like, well, I plan on doing it, but like the woman doesn't know, like, not having, just a lack of communication.
Yeah, no, there needs to be communication around that subject. There needs to just be knowledge that you're on the same page, at least within the same few months, like at least within the same year. You should not be waiting for your partner more than you're comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, the last one out of these is pick your battles, which
Mm,
I think if anyone can relate to, that would be me, because I struggle with doing that. I'm
me
like
too.
drama queen.
Me
Um,
too, Victoria.
so, yeah, I mean, it's as simple as it sounds. Pick your battles. Like, tell us.
Yeah, I mean, easier said than done, but really just like don't, make such a big deal of him not like putting his shoes away.
Mm,
It's like, you're really going to start up about something like that. I had this amazing podcaster. His name is Dan Savage on my podcast. And he said something that I'll never forget. He said, um, if you're going to ride the ride, you, I'm going to mess it up. But it was
I
basically
hate,
like,
but that happens to me all the time. Like, fuck, I'm gonna butcher this
uh-huh.
quote.
But basically like, if you want to if you're going to be with someone, you have to accept certain things in order to be with that person, and everyone has things that you're going to have to accept.
Hmm.
If you want to be with that person, aka like ride the ride, be on the ride, you have to realize that there's going to be like things along the ride that are just part of who they are. So for example, like if my husband, when he's cooking, let's say he leaves out like pots and pans, or he like forgets to put something away, I could be like, you left out the pots and pans again, and blah blah blah. Or I could just put the pots and pans away and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like, what is really worth it to you to bring up versus like, what can you just handle and shut up? Because I guarantee he's handling some of your stuff and shutting up too. Like, so just try not to unnecessarily bring things up and start shit for no reason, basically.
Yeah. Do you listen to the toast?
I actually have one or two episodes, and I remember being like, this is so fun, I need to listen more, but then I never did.
Well, what you're saying reminds me of it, because they do like an advice segment at the end of some of the episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and they, a lot of the time it's like women writing in about their husbands essentially complaining. And they have this like thing they always just say, like, is this a problem, or are you just a naggy bitch wife? Like, are you just nagging and just get mad at everything, like, or is this actually, a problem,
It's true.
And I
It's
feel
so
like
true.
sometimes, listen, I don't know, maybe it's the like New Yorker in me. I have no filter. Like, everything that bothers me, I'm just like, it comes right out. But I definitely, that's my next like mantra or whatever for this year. Like, that's my next personal goal, picking my battles.
Yeah, it's so
That's
hard.
it is hard. All right. So, like I said, you are a new mom, so congratulations on that.
Thank
But
you.
you had a difficult journey. You had a different journey than I feel like we see for the most part on social media with your fertility, with PCOS and IVF. Um, Give us a little bit of a breakdown on that, a rundown on that, especially like what those things even are, because maybe someone doesn't really know about any of that.
Yeah, so PCOS is polycystic ovary syndrome. And it is when you have a series of like cysts on your ovaries, and that affects everyone in different ways, but it's a hormonal thing that for me manifested in not getting my period when I went off birth control. And like also losing my hair and getting acne and gaining weight, like all this really fun stuff. And as a result, I had a lot of fertility issues and I wasn't able to get pregnant on my own. At least like after, a year and a half. Maybe I could have continued trying or whatever, but I wasn't able. And so we started IVF. We also had like genetic stuff. So it was, the best decision for our family. We started IVF and we froze our embryos, my husband and I, and we had a baby through IVF. I had my son Zachary, and then the actual birth itself was a disaster and a shit
Really?
show. Um, but all that is to say that we have this amazing baby and he was worth all of it. And, if you are someone who doesn't know if you might have PCOS or have like fertility issues down the line, I think the best thing that you can do for yourself is see how your body functions off birth control. And I know that can be really scary if you're like, oh my God, I have a boyfriend. Like, what if I get pregnant when I go off? Like, you can still have safe sex off birth control, but it's so important to just be in tune with your body. Like, am I getting a regular period? That's literally the only question that you need answered. Am I getting a regular period? That's how you know if you're going to have fertility issues or not. Like
Yeah.
it's that simple. So have that conversation with your doctor and try to be aware of it, because I wish I had known about it earlier.
That's actually why I got off of birth control. I got off birth control pretty young, 24. And I got off of it because on birth control, I didn't get my period, which some people do, some people don't. But like, I did not like that feeling of not
Mm,
getting my period. Like for some people, they're like, that's great, no period. But
right.
I was like so freaked out being on it and just like never getting my period. It did not sit right with me. So luckily, I have had no issues since I got off of it. I literally started getting my period the next month, thank
That's
God.
so great.
But it was a very scary feeling. I'm like, there's
Mm-hmm.
something's gonna be wrong if I stay on this for too long. Now, did any of this was any of this rather the reason why you had a difficult like labor? Like what happened with that?
No, I had a difficult labor because I had this thing called CPD. So my pelvis was too narrow to deliver my baby vaginally. So I ended up having to have an emergency C-section. So it was just that's the reason that labor was difficult for me. And a C-section is not the biggest deal in the world. It's just that when you don't expect it, it's a different circumstance that when you go in with a scheduled one. So it was just not great. But honestly, like I would do it again and again and again.
So, oh wow, that's okay. That's interesting. So that was an emergency C-section technically.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, okay. How important was sorry, what did you say your husband? Oh, Zach is your son's name. Sorry, I was gonna
Yeah,
say Zach.
Steven.
Steven. Okay, so how important was Steven's role really like throughout all of this? I mean, the IVF process, the PCOS process, the pregnancy process, the having an emergency C-section, like
Mm,
how important is that role of your partner, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally? Because I mean, girls need to make sure that they're having a good picker because this is the shit that we go through.
oh yeah, you have to have an unbelievable partner to go through all of this. And I think there's like five things that test your relationship the most in life, and it's like moving, fertility issues, having a baby, like and like we went through the gamut. And I will say he was the most sweetest, supportive, like kindest, understanding, like put himself so last. And that was so necessary in order to get through the journey. I don't understand. Like any guy I would have like I dated in the past would have been horrible at this whole thing. Like that's how I know that I picked right because I can't even imagine anyone being as wonderful and supportive as Steven. Um and I'm so grateful for him every day, honestly. And he's such a good dad and like he really he really wanted Zachary, our son, like as much as I did. And I feel like that is sometimes not the case, right? Like some guys like need to be convinced. And it's like, you don't want to convince a guy to have a kid because you like being a dad is so serious. Being a parent is so real. And you want them to be fully in. You really do.
Yeah. How has being new parents changed your relationship? Like, is there anything new that you're doing? Are you like trying to make more intentional time, or is it like we barely even get time? Like, how do you,
Yeah.
what has this new season been like for you guys?
We are so tired, honestly. Like when I come home, I would love nothing more after like I put my son to bed than to not speak to someone. Like I love Steven so much, but like if he just like did not speak to me after that, I would be fine with that. And then like if he decided he like if he we spoke twice a week, I would be like, that's amazing. Like that's just where I'm at right now. And I'm planning to do a whole episode on it because it is so wild. Like I love him so much. I love our son so much. But I'm like,
You're exhausted.
I can't, like I'm like, just don't speak. Just shh.
I mean, listen, like find the man that you can sit in silence with. Like find the man
Totally.
that you can do nothing with. Like
Right. Like,
isn't that the goal?
uh-huh. Uh-huh. It is the goal, honestly. It
You don't
is.
want to have to like entertain throughout every season of your life.
No,
So,
you can't.
um for any girls that, maybe have PCOS or fertility issues, do you have any, whether it's like coping skills or not to say solutions, but like mental things, anything that works for you that helped you through this process that you would share with anyone?
Um, Therapy. Therapy is so important. Acupuncture, really helpful. Working out. A lot of people are like weird about working out through IVF and stuff. I loved it. I like working out through my pregnancy was so helpful. Just like moving your body, getting outside, walking, listening to a podcast, having great friends who you can be honest with what's going on in your life. All of that just on repeat. And like, leaning on your family because your family, like as you get older, is the most special. And all of that was really, really helpful for me.
Yeah. I was looking through your stories and I saw, I think it was, I don't know, it might have been like an IVF highlight or something. And, there was someone saying like, what, what should people not say or not do, with, if you're struggling through all this and you're like, don't tell me like, oh, you're so strong or whatever it was that you said. You're like, don't tell, like these are not the things that people want to hear. And I think what it comes down to is like people are uncomfortable because this is such an unspoken about thing. Like it's not common to hear all the time about people having miscarriages or people having fertility issues, like PCOS, whatever it is. So when they do hear it, it's like almost like no one even knows what to say because it's so like not taboo but just so uncommon. So
Mm,
I think that like having those, like you said, those good friends, like being able to lean on people and have like open and honest conversations with is just it's probably the answer to like most issues in life, like being able to have a good support system.
so true. It's so true.
And that's why we need to have more of these conversations and like be open about it because it's the only way people will actually learn the right things to say is by us ultimately talking about it more. So I do appreciate you sharing that because I know, of course, it's a lot for you as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so true.
So what would be just one last I don't know, word of wisdom or piece of advice to wrap this up on anything that we spoke about that maybe you feel like you didn't get a chance to say?
Mm. Ooh. I mean, I would usually say if you're confused or not interested, but I feel like we said that. We
Sorry,
really said
sorry.
it. No, I love
Jumped the
it.
gun on that one.
I would say, you know, and I've said this before, and I actually said this in my vows, but you have to want to be like your partner because you really end up meshing together and they really rub off on you a lot. And if you don't think that your partner is someone that you could want to be like and have similar things in common with, and they inspire you, then that's not good, because you do end up being very similar to your partner. So that goes for your relationship, that goes for your friends' relationships, your family's relationships. Like, don't spend time around people that you don't want to be like, because you will be like them. So be careful.
That is, wait, that is so good. Like that in itself, podcast episode. Like it's so true. Like you pick up on the mannerisms, the way that they talk, the habits. Like it is. I've never even heard it be put that way, and I think that that is really nice to have in your vows. Wow, you're a good
Thank you.
wife.
I try.
All right, what is next for you, and where can all of the girls find you and connect with you?
We are doing a lot of women centered events now as opposed to mixers. We're doing a really great panel June 18th. So if you're
Okay.
around, you should totally come. I would love to have you. And we are also doing, um,
I
why
went
did I
on your
just
website
blank?
and I was looking under events
Yeah.
and nothing was there for upcoming. So I was like, all right, maybe nothing is happening. But
Oh yeah, no,
okay, so
we haven't released tickets yet. So it will be
okay,
on the
got
website
it.
soon.
Got it. Yeah, I went on,
Um,
I was looking, I was like, oh, okay, nothing. Never
yeah, no, you
mind.
have to come. And oh, and we're gonna do some like mom events at some point. So if you're a mom, follow We Met at Baby, which is my mom account, and all the information will be there. And yeah, follow me at We Met at Acme. And this was so much fun.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.